Hey everybody, it's Greg, Detroit's Love Guru, coming to you live every Wednesday at noon. Here we go. Gonna be talking about sex after 35. Maybe I could do after 40, whatever, right? And it's funny how Mother Nature, whoever you want to call it, karma, whatever, flips a script on maybe the differences or some of them between, men, women, biological aspects, biological clocks, estrogen levels, testosterone levels. We're going to get into this right after this. So pay attention. Don't go anywhere, people, on the Art of Relationship show. Hey everybody, and we're back with the Art of Relationship show. Now, for those people 35 and over, you might be experiencing these situations right now, right? And we're going to be talking about, I'm going to try to break it up into men, into women. And as people know, I don't get into a lot of gender stereotypes that much at all. And then I'm going to go into maybe some tips about what you can do about it, how you can connect and still have a vibrant, engaging, connecting sex life, okay? And it's sort of ironic how, men, when we're younger, right, late teens, early 20s, whatever, we're ready to go when the wind blows, right? We're hard as a rock. We want to go, hump like rabbits type of stuff, right? And I'm not saying, girls, women aren't like that as well, but it's sort of ironic how, as we age, as we get older, and we say 35 on up, that men sort of die down on average in their sexual appetite, if you will, and the women tend to increase their sexual appetite. And there's a lot of complaints, a lot of issues I deal with couples in this age category, 35 and above, and looking at, how a lot of women, their sexual desire, man, just goes through the roof and they love it. And the men are like, damn, where the hell was this 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago? Those type of situations. And the men are tired, lack of energy. They, us and the women feel like, hey, what's wrong with you? You don't find me attracted, desiring. And the men are just stressed, or, maybe testosterone levels have dropped, and they drop significantly from, on average, 35 and above. It decreases more and more with us men on average, okay? So looking at those elements to be able to look at, okay, where do we go from here and what do we do with this? And it's like, man, the men are tired. And, let's hit on the medical aspects with men first as far as their changes. Everybody hears about testosterone levels dropping for men. That is very, very true, right? When men hit 30, testosterone levels tend to drop, believe it or not, 10%. 35, it tends to drop even more and more on average, okay? So we want to look at these elements to where, what happens biologically, what happens realistically on a medical aspect, and what men can do about those aspects, okay? So when men's maybe sexual drive on average tends to go down the toilet, if you will, we have to look at life attributes. And this goes for either gender, any gender as well, okay? And to be able to looking at, testosterone levels, let's hit on the medical aspects, right? They drop, right? Maybe we start having more health issues that kills our sex drive. Maybe diabetes kicks up. Hey, Amanda, I appreciate you tuning in again. So, maybe blood pressure is increasing as we age. I mentioned diabetes. Maybe weight issues tend to be an issue. Thyroid issues, they can affect, like I said, it's not just a weight aspect. And I mentioned this on numerous episodes before, that the thyroid messes with almost every body function. It, definitely our libido, our sex desire, right? Our mood, our energy levels, our sleep patterns, those type of aspects. So we're looking at, those elements to where, the medical complications about what happens with men when maybe our sex drive sort of goes down the toilet. or decreases significantly. Again, this is on average. It's not every man. There's men out there, I'm 70 years old and I want to have sex every day. I get that, which is awesome for you. But these are averages. Not every man, not every woman as well. Now, let's face it, when we get older as well, we have more responsibility, right? Remember when you were a teenager, man, we couldn't wait to be an adult, and we're like, what the hell were we thinking, right? And looking at those elements to where, now we have a lot more bills, maybe you have more responsibilities, you're working and trying to balance everything. Now you might have kids out there and you're trying to, let's face it, afford everything. The stresses of financial burdens, parenting, dealing with the kids, about trying to balance, not only, work-life balance, but, a relationship, a marriage, if you're in that situation, balancing 1, 2, 3, 5 kids, whatever you have. And it's tiring. It's exhausting. And you're wondering where all your energy goes. And again, this goes for women too. It's not just men, of course. And men sort of withdraw and pull away and, with the stresses, and they don't talk about it. I'm supposed to be the man, so I don't deal with it. And you're wondering what happens when your lady maybe wants to have sex and wants to desire, and, they're more open to sex now than they were when they were younger. They have more of a grasp, more balance. Maybe they're more freer sexually because they're more confident in themselves, whatever, right? When women have kids, maybe all their, body image and modesty goes out the window. So they're like, who cares? I'm going to start enjoying and loving sex, whatever. And the guy's like, exhausted for a bunch of issues. Okay. So we have to look at, these elements that changes with sex life over 35. Another aspect, getting back on the men aspect, there might be, and this is sort of rare at 35, but it increases with men having erectile disappointment. I know a lot of people look at dysfunction. I hate that word. Disappointment. We can say that, right? And, erectile issues. And like I said, they could be medical aspects, as we increase with age. I already mentioned diabetes, high blood pressure. Maybe we're on blood pressure medication, that type of aspect. Maybe the blood circulation or other medical aspects are going on. And I always advise people to see, medical professionals to get these issues checked out. Definitely. For men and for women, big time. And we all know, right? A lot of women do not, or I'm sorry, a lot of men, right? They don't want to see a doctor. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. We met up talking about some other projects and God, I haven't been to a doctor in 30 years, Greg. I'm like, really? For real? And he's in his mid 50s. And he finally went, or is going to go, schedule an appointment. Now, it tends to be a big issue for men about doctors. I'm a man, nothing's wrong with me, suck it up, right? That type of situation. We need to be able to get it checked out. And I know it's embarrassing for a lot of us men, but go, because it can be maybe not a quick fix, maybe a simple fix that we get, our health in checked, our blood pressure, or maybe if you have diabetes, or, go see a urologist that might have, if you have, erectile challenges, erectile disappointments, to be able to go on this. And this happens with age. So you look at, 35 and above, and these chances for these issues to occur increase with age. It's just the way it is. And I want people to, especially men, to look at this. Are you still exercising? That can help. Are you watching your eating habits? Are you, managing your stress levels? And it's hard. Let's face it, trying to balance work and kids and being married, a relationship. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. But you have to look at these aspects. When it comes to sex after 35, are you still, is it an emotional disconnect that's creating the sexual maybe decline with men over 35? Is it that you feel like you're being nagged on, being, ripped apart, being criticized, that you're not emotionally connected? And you have to look at these elements, okay? And to be honest with you, men, they tend to hit on the emotional elements even more so as we increase with age. If we feel like we're not important, that we feel like we're just a paycheck, we feel like we're taken for granted. Sounds familiar, right, ladies? Very, very similar. So we start withdrawing from sex, and the women are like, oh, I just yelled at you, degrade you, but yet you don't, you still should have sex with me, right when I want to. And the men are like, what? So sex for men, and we tend to be more emotionally connected as we age as well. So this tends to be a huge issue and a huge change when it comes to men, and maybe the decline for sexual appetite, if you will, or their sexual desire. You have to look at medical aspect, and of course looking at, the emotional connection. What's going on in the relationship? Is it stress? Is it exhaustion? Is it tired? These are real aspects, but then you have to look at, what are we doing to make our sex life important again, to make it fulfilling and enduring for not only us, but for our female partners if we're in a heterosexual relationship, right? It's important for a lot of people, right? And it's, women say it's not important for them. I'm going to tell you, I hear from a lot of women, more women than not, and I'm talking probably 85 to 90% of women, that their sex life is important for them as well, believe it or not. So it's crucial. So looking at these aspects with men, check out, medical aspects. If what's going on, testosterone levels, your blood pressure can create a lot of issues. Diabetes, I already went down through the list, okay? Prostate issues, bladder issues. I want you to be able to get it checked out. And if all medical is fine, you also can throw in, is depression an issue? Is diabetes an issue? And again, it's not a right or wrong, but it's looking at, what is happening and what is going on with those situations, okay? So going after the women aspect, okay? And like I said, it's ironic how many women tend to increase their sexual desire, their sexual appetite. Again, just like men, not all. And it's like I tell people, the universe, Mother Nature, whatever you want to say, does a rotten trick on us, right? Men's desire goes as we get older, as we age, and women's sexual desire and appetite, increases in a lot of women, not all. And it's like, man, this ain't fair. Why can't we do this all on the same page, right? And it's like, man, this ain't fair, not at all. So just like men, with females, with your increasing, your sexual appetite and desire, I'm like, woohoo, awesome, right? And there tends to be maybe a switch that goes off. Let's face it, with a lot of women, that their sexual desire might decrease. And let's face it, right? When you're premenopausal or menopausal or postmenopausal, we have to look at the medical aspects as well. If it is the sexual medical aspects that is creating issues, right? There's three estrogen levels in women, 2 testosterone levels in men, and a lot of women don't know this and about getting them checked, right? Again, the medical issues, just like men, right? Is there diabetes? Is there thyroid issues? Is there other hormonal aspects going on, pituitary gland aspects as well? And a lot of people don't realize this, but these are issues that can be creating desire issues. Now, for women, are you more open? Are you more apt to want to be more exploratory, more adventurous sexually? And you're like, I don't care what I look like anymore. I want to have sex. I love it. I want to be fulfilled. And like I mentioned at the beginning, that women, if you have kids or given childbirth, your modesty goes out the window. Maybe, your female OB yearly checkups, whatever, maybe breast exams, maybe, mammograms, that type of issue. Women, they sort of mature and emotionally get more comfortable with themselves because their modesty goes out the window. So therefore, man, I'm going to enjoy sex. And I love women being sexually confident and owning their sexuality and going after. And again, as women, they might in their 30s, 40s, even 50s, right? They want a healthy sex life. And what happens is, the men decrease that, and they're like, what the hell happened, right? It's not fair. We have to look at the biological components and, of course, the environmental, social aspects, work-life stress, the kids, balancing, financial stress. Maybe, as we age as well, looking at maybe you're caring for a loved one, a mother, a father, a sick relative now, a grandparent, and all these stresses. And let's face it, we don't have the time to relax. And I tell people all the time, if we do not make time to have our sex life our priority, the kids, the world, relatives, work, everything else is going to take that time away from us. So we need to make our sex life a priority. So, with women, I'm going to touch on that as you age. A lot of women know that are premenopausal, in full-blown menopause or post-menopause, there's biological aspects that can come out. And, the thinning of the vaginal lining, the wall, where it can make sex painful. Women might not be able to become as wet and secrete, lubricant as when they were younger as well. So you might have to increase the use of lubrication, sex-safe lubricants, okay, to be able to maybe enjoy sex more, where you become wet. And it's not like a desire aspect. It just could be a biological aspect that women have no control over. And there are some things, again, with women, I want you to get checked out by a very sex-positive OB. And a lot of people, believe it or not, even though there are OBs out there throughout the country, they're not very trained. They're not very knowledgeable about the sexual functioning, the pelvic floor muscles, that type of aspect, the Skene's gland, and all these aspects that come into the play with the sexual, chemistry and biology of, I shouldn't say it is chemical, but, biologically aspects of sex in females, especially the thinning of the lining. Maybe there's, with women having, vaginal births, that there could be scar tissue from, babies, and they come out with fingernails, and it's sort of, they might scrape the vaginal linings. I don't want to make women, upset, or, oh my God, I'm never giving birth to a kid. I'm not having kids. But this is the reality, right? So when you're looking at these elements, and with age and everything that creates these elements, sex over 35, it can go down the toilet, right? The desire, the energy level. Oh, I'm too tired. Let's just do it and get it over with, just to say we got it over with. My question is, don't fall into this trap, okay? It's easy to, so damn easy to, right? We might be more career focused. We might be more, worried about the kids and the activities running all over the place. But can you be more sexually active and make it a priority? Maybe even if you have, 10 minutes, take that 10 minutes to connect. Allow yourself to enjoy sex again and continue that throughout the lifespan. I'm huge on that. I know people in their 80s still have sex, right? And people are maybe listening to this now, watching me. They're saying, oh, 80s, I don't want to think about that. How gross. But when you're 80 years old and you still want to have sex, great, own it, right? I'm all about enjoying sex throughout your life, throughout the lifespan. So you need to be able to look at these elements about what is happening and what is getting in the way to those, making sex a priority, right? Or are you with the societal stigma, right? Oh, you should be okay with sex not being important as you age. That is a myth. And I don't want people to get sucked into that. Not at all, okay? And people, realistically, sex shouldn't be important. My question is, who says that? Who defined that? And who made that as a rule, or that it shouldn't be important in a relationship? And like I said, the difference between a friendship and a romantic relationship, right, is sex. It's the physical intimacy levels. And that doesn't mean, and that cuts across on all levels, not just sex, but, the physical aspects about kissing, about caressing, about touching each other. Those things are all important. I think they become even more important than they should as we age. And let's face it, I think they should be important. Teenagers, young adults, throughout, any age, the caressing, the touching should be important. The holding hands, maybe a little pat on the booty, right? Little booty grab. Those type of elements should never go away. And as we age, we tend to get in our mindset that sex should not be important and we need to be okay with that. Oh, we're older. We're 50 years old now. Sex shouldn't be important to us. I'm like, what? Why not? Now, if it's not important to you, I'm not going to say it should be. You get me? But this is where I tell people, if you're at total two opposites of the spectrum, and this is where I see a lot of couples, 35 and over, they tend to have a great divide, if you will. They realize that maybe they want different things than they did when they were 20 years old when they first met. And this can create a huge issue where one person needs to be okay with the other one fully changing, and it happens, right? That aspect or the adage about, oh, we just grew apart. And again, it's not a right or wrong, that type of situation. It's looking at what do we do with those elements to make sure that we're growing and evolving together. And sex is definitely one of those that, can maintain and create a great relationship and make you even feel more connected. How many people do you think, if you're even under 35 now, when you're 50, 60 years old, and let's face it, when I was in my mid-20s, did I think about that? Hell no, right? Most people don't. But when you hit 35, you're starting to look at maybe, man, I'm almost 40, I'm almost 50, whatever, right? And you look at, why should sex be less important at 50 as it was when you were in your early 20s? Or how many people, you're just having sex when your horniness increases when you want to have a baby, right? A lot of men, right? Oh man, when we're younger, we're getting it on, oh my God, 3 times a day like rabbits. And then we sort of hit a plateau. Then we talk about having kids, and all of a sudden she's horny again. All of a sudden, and I'm like, why does that increase the sexual appetite when you just want kids? And then it decreases. And that makes that one person feel, right? You only want me to have a kid. You don't really love me, desire me. It's all about the focus to have a kid. And then that resentment creates, when the kids are there, that the sex goes down the toilet. And a lot of people, men and women, right? Oh, you should be okay when sex decreases. We're at this age now. We're parents. Sex shouldn't be so important. And I challenge that myth. I'm saying that's bullshit. And I think sex can be important throughout the lifespan. And what do you do to create that? Even if there's erectile challenges, whatever, you can still make love, right? You have fingers, you have oral sex, right? There's toys out there. You can still make love without having an erect penis. And I know it's very embarrassing for a lot of men. I'm not a man. You're like, ooh, I'm not a man type of situation if I can't get an erect penis. You still can make love and you're still a man. Absolutely, right? You can still get close. You can still satisfy your partner in different ways, maybe. Maybe you just increase different ways than you did before, okay? Then penetrative sex, okay? So look at these elements in what does sexual maturity look like for you? What does the mind, body, heart, and soul of sex? We know the physical pleasure, right? But you don't have to have penetrative sex just to have physical sexual pleasure. My thing is, I always promote sex positive attributes, right? Huge on sex positivity, and that increases and goes throughout the lifespan. That people can be more mature about sex. That now you're 35 and over, or even younger, I promote this at any age, that you can talk more openly about sex, about maybe the challenges, about your needs, about what you want, what you desire, maybe what you want to try anymore. And it's ironic where you didn't care when you were maybe in your late teens, early, 20s, adulthood, you're having sex everywhere. And now when we get older, why does that change, right? Oh my God, we can't let people know we're having sex, or, we're mature now, we're adults, we're parents. Why does that have to kill your adventurous side when it comes to sex, right? Why does it? And I want to challenge you to allow that to not take place, all right? Allow yourself to still, as you mature sexually and you have everything going on, the kids, the bills, work, trying to balance everything in life, right? That I want to challenge you to make sex a priority again. Even if you're over 35, Get rid of the BS stigmas that, oh, we're parents now. We're kids. We have kids. We're adults. We're mature. We're not supposed to have sex that's important anymore. That's BS, right? I still believe sex is an important, intricate part of a romantic relationship, okay? And those people that tell you it should not be and you need to be okay with it, you need to challenge them. Are they afraid to even go after it? Are they afraid to even challenge themselves, or are they just BSing themselves? Maybe their sexual desire is down because the emotional connection in their relationship is not. And as I mentioned at the beginning, with men and women, look at the medical, the biological, hormonal aspects that go with sexual desire decreases and what's going on with those, and get those checked out. You have a lot of people at any age, right? But primarily, 35 and above, oh, you know what? Sex shouldn't be. Is that all you think about is sex or whatever? Or is it an attitude that, one that has a low sexual desire for whatever reason, right? It could be all of the above I mentioned, that they try to bash the other one that still has a highly active sexual desire and arousal in their life, and they're trying to bash that one for having a higher sexual arousal, or the one that has a higher sexual arousal or appetite is trying to bash the other one for not having a higher sexual desire. I remember when we were younger. I remember when we were this. Oh my God, we were like this. We do change physically. We change biologically. We change mentally, mature aspects. We change. We have kids, stress levels. But I want to make sure you talk and be open about talking with sex. At 35 and over, I'm hoping it's a lot easier for you to talk about sex and desire and where you want to be and what's it take to be able to work towards those elements, okay? So check out my website, okay? theartofrelationships.org. And a huge, thank you. If you're looking for, if you are unfortunately going through a relationship breakup, or, going through a divorce or thinking about it, you know what? Go to dfwnplc.com. Check them out. Great people over there. They're actually honest and genuine and want to help people. And also, for a lot of laughs, as always, check out ihatepeople.club. Check them out. And peace and love to everybody out there. Take care.